So this is what the sequel to Douglas Adams' So Long and Thank You for All the Fish looks like and reads like. And the title, Namaste, Namaskar, hello and welcome. My name is Amar Vyas, and in this short series of videos, we will take a look at how to generate awesome books, novels, novellas, how-to guides, etc. Using a project called Infinite Bookshelf. This is an open source project. Code is available on GitHub. You can check out the code. I will add the links in the notes. And it's hosted on Streamlit. It uses groq, that's GROQ, at the backend. Project was created by Benjamin Kriegler, and it's a community-driven project. Lots of volunteers now for Streamlit. And like I mentioned earlier, you can download the code. It does have a short and quick tutorial with some videos, rather similar to what I'm going to post, but I hope to add a bit more of my flavor to these videos. That's the link, infinite.benjamin.sh. That's the new site that probably he had tweeted about. For the purpose of these videos, I have created a few templates or outlines for a few fiction and non-fiction books. And since Streamlit / Infinite Bookshelf uses groq at the back end, I thought it's only fair that we use groq for generating these outlines. And you can see a few projects over here. It's got a well-defined table of contents, a blurb for a book. This is a how-to guide. We'll come to that shortly. This is the first project that we'll start with, a book called When the Dolphins Returned. It's a fiction in the same tone, probably a sequel to So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams, which I thought was a pretty wacky idea as I started reading it. And let's discover these books together. There is a children's book also that I have written about how Lord Ram's army of monkeys built a huge bridge to enter Ravan's kingdom, and that's from the Ramayana in India. And then also a little bit more advanced, maybe some with code examples, how to use org mode in Emacs for writing your book projects. We'll also try and add some links to images and see how that whole thing works out. This is what some of the videos are going to be. Let's get started. All right, so let's get going with our first shiny new book project. Before that, one more step that you would have to do if you're not done that already, and that is create an account with groq and get the API key. You're going to need it for the rest of the projects or rest of the steps to go. How to do that is beyond the scope of this video. However, I will leave a link in the show notes. It's pretty no-brainer. I could do it. I'm sure you would be able to figure it out as well. We are going to create a very basic book. It's a fiction book titled When the Dolphins Returned, and it's a parody sequel to Douglas Adams. I've not added too many features at this point in time. I just want to see what Llama 3 can do for us. And as I speak, you can see that the book is getting generated. That's the speed at which it's doing. groq's pretty quick with that. You've got a prologue, a few chapters. I'm going to scroll very fast all the way to the bottom just to show you the table of contents, and then I'll show you what to do with that next. So if it's a lot of back and forth scroll in these videos, I apologize up front. This is the meat and potatoes. You got a nice prologue, a table of contents, and your book is practically ready. If I go all the way up, and I'm sure there is a hotkey somewhere in Chrome or Chromium that will take you to all the way to the top. But you click on End Generation and download the book. You can download the text. You can download the PDF as well. You just have to do that twice. And your book is ready. I will include the links to the books, and I'm sure you'd be curious to see how that book looks. In the next video, I'll quickly scroll through the PDF version and the text versions as well. But before moving on with the next book, my personal recommendation, refresh the page and enter your key and all the details again. It gives a much better output compared to simply trying to update this information, and typically I don't think it'll allow you to create a new book anyways. So this is what the sequel to Douglas Adams' So Long and Thank You for All the Fish looks like and reads like. And the title cracked me up. Mysterious tides of forgotten memories unravel on whispering shores. Wow. I wanted the title to be When the Fish or When the Dolphins Return. But anyway, that's the beauty of having the text mode also. You can go ahead and update that, and we'll get to that shortly. But you can see it's a nice 43 pages. So I think it should be somewhere close to 8 or 9,000 words. It's a nice novella. It could be a fan fiction that you would want to read. Only time would tell. All right, so this is how the text version looks like. One clarification, I had mentioned that the PDF version probably is between 8 and 10,000 words. No, it is 15,000 words. I think you may be able to see the word count at the bottom here. But yeah, it's a much bigger book than I had thought. And you can see it's very nicely formatted in Markdown. This is heading 2. I can probably go back and change the prologue to a heading 3 just to make some more formatting. So this is the advantage of downloading the book in both the versions. You can see the finished product nicely formatted, but this is where you can actually go ahead and edit it. Without further ado, let's move on to the basic mode again, but this time we will include a far more detailed blurb and a table of contents. The advanced mode, this is our third book that we would be generating. This time around, I have already populated it with some information just so that we keep moving along. This is the advanced mode. It still uses Llama 3 models, but here you have the option of choosing between 70B, 8B, and then also Gemma 2, 9B. I have found that if we use the Gemma models for creating the book structure as well as the title, and 8B is more than adequate for creating the actual content. It works beautifully. We are going to create a how-to guide. This is a non-fiction book. It's a how-to repair guide for your lightsaber. It should be very helpful for the Jedis who believe in DIY. And I've given some additional instructions, step-by-step instructions. And seed content is basically the table of contents that we had seen earlier. And since you can choose the tone or the language, casual, academic, creative, I think repairing lightsabers is serious business. So let's stick to formal, and intermediate would be a good enough starting point. And let's hit enter and see what happens at this point in time. You would start seeing that the content keeps getting created rather well right from the get-go. And you would see multiple scenarios, how to optimize your energy. You need to fight long wars. And book is practically ready at this point in time, but you'll start seeing these entries getting populated. Sometimes it may not do that. So be aware of that. And if the longer it keeps running, it'll probably, and I think it's finished right now, you may get a lot of words and a lot of it could be garbage. So be aware of this, that intermediate can sometimes throw some surprises. Again, off screen, I am going to check what is the word count on this guide, and it's about 14,300 words, which is not too bad. I once was tinkering around and I ended up creating a book on content management systems, which had 305,000 words. So I'm sure nobody would want to read that. So this is what the advanced version with this for a nonfiction with a well-defined table of contents can do. And like I mentioned before, I would include the links to all these books in the we'll have some code samples. Let's try and include links to some images. And this will be a book on how to use org mode in Emacs for writing your book projects. And that's something that I'm learning as well on the side by side as I'm writing for more and more books. So here we have added the information. We want some code samples, links, etc. And a basic table of content that gives you some idea as to what you need. Heads up, here we may encounter some errors because I've seen that if you try to add certain characters, so probably this is the section which may play mischief, but let's see how it goes. Like before, we will use Gemma for the title as well as the structure, and let's hit enter. And I was hoping there would be an error. There was not, but it's actually very helpful and very learning experience to actually figure out what that error is. But you can see here, you can see code examples nicely formatted. You got links in line within the structure itself and within the chapter itself. And the images may not work. It shows example.com, org mode, book structure, screenshot.png. So this is a hit or miss depending on what sort of source that you give. If I mention link to orgmode.org, or if I say link to Wikipedia, it may still give me links, but those will be dummy links. The book is ready. The chapters are ready, 8 chapters. And by the time you finish reading this book, hopefully you will be proficient in creating books in org mode. And this one, I am probably going to leave the PDF version as well, just to show that the links do not work. And in this particular instance. But I hope you got the idea as to what this can do. Penultimate video, here I have used a children's book as an example where Lord Ram's army built the bridge to Lanka. This is a scene from Ramayana. Target age group is 4 to 8 years. And then there are some additional information given here, some facts, maybe a little FAQ, and then there are only pages, lesser number of pages, and let's see how it comes out. And this is something I have not tried out before, and I'm going to leave it at defaults for now and just hit generate, and let's see what we get this time around. I think it's a much longer book than I had anticipated, but if you see here, it gives the prompt for the illustrations, which is nice. We can probably do that. Go to an image generation tool and include the images. I think it turned out to be a much longer book than I had anticipated. And this is an example where having the text mode really helps. We may have to trim this down significantly. And even if it says 19 pages, I think in terms of word count, it's going to be a lot. So again, this may require a bit of a trial and error. I have a feeling if I had used the Gemma models, it would have made for a much shorter book. And yeah, 135,000 words for a children's book. I think they may become grandparents themselves by the time they are done reading this book. So this is an example where the formula or the method that I mentioned did not work. But I thought of leaving this video as is to show that it need not work every time. You may have to figure out your best method of model to Gemma so that I could get a more tighter space. Even though I had defined that the book needs to be limited to 1,000 words, I still got about 2 times the size. But 2,000 words for a children's book, though on the longer side, can be edited much more easily than a 130,000 word book. The PDF looks like it's a 9-page PDF. So if we add some images and reduce the amount of text, we can probably have a 16-page, so a little bit more than 30 pages book with the illustrations and so on, and some nice lessons mentioned in the end. So this version came out much better. This was with Gemma in Hindi. So this is the Devanagari font, the same fiction book as before. When the dolphins returned, and I have again used groq for translating the entire table of contents and the blur for the book. And let's see if we get it in the basic mode. If there are any errors, and I suspect there might be, there are none, and it's giving me the output in Devanagari. This is beautiful. This is actually a very positive surprise. In the past, when I had tried, there were certain this is the error that you get. Now it goes into a loop, and all you would keep seeing is it's the same line, it's the same command that keeps getting repeated. Those of you who cannot read, and I'm sure majority of you would not be, it's essentially the same paragraph that it's repeating again and again and again. So I do get this error in Devanagari in the basic mode. So I'm going to stop this video right now, clean this up, and then we'll see if we can do the same in advanced mode if we get a different mode. And I have just added the instructions here rather than going to the seed content, and we'll leave it at the basic settings. And I'm going to use the Gemma models again. Let's see if we get a slightly better output this time around. And I did get this error, and this is the error that I actually wanted. It should have come out sometime in one of the previous videos. So this does help us figure out what exactly might be going on. So if I clear this out and I change the Gemma models to maybe the Llama models, that error might go away. Or if it's, yeah, there you go. But you see, it's the same word that's kind of getting repeated again. Those of you who can't read, it's the word hal, which is like either recent or status, so to speak. And it's probably repeated 100 times so far. And these errors do keep happening because we are again using the same Llama model as before. I'm going to stop the book generation. I'm going to change the model just for a sanity check. I don't want to bother you to see a script which you cannot probably follow. It's anyway not going to let me regenerate actually there should be, yeah, that's one of the features of this thing. I can rerun, and let's see if we get a better result this time. No, it's not happening even with the R or the rerun. Yeah, it's kind of stopped here. So we'll pause this segment here. So far in this video, we have taken a look at what Infinite Bookshelf is all about. What are some of the basic modes for fiction, non-fiction titles. We tried to include images. Hindi or Devanagari project did not work out the way I had anticipated. And by now, I think I had reached the rate limit for groq, as well as the Infinite Bookshelf started giving me errors even in some different topics that I was trying out, something in, so evolution of, let's say, astrology in ancient Asia, Asian civilizations. That was a topic that I was trying to create a book on. It gave me a 205,000 word book, out of which probably the same content was repeated 5 times. So it's a decent size, 45,000 word book, but it's the same content in different format getting repeated. So I think both groq, Infinite Bookshelf, and I are tired, and I'm sure so must be you. So we'll probably wrap up. I wanted to include a segment on self-install and trying it. I may do a separate standalone video just on that, because there are a lot more things to play around with when you download and try to run it yourself. But this should give you a good enough idea, at least that's my hope, on how to use Infinite Bookshelf under different scenarios, and hope that these videos and the accompanying books, as well as the guides, they were all helpful to you in some way or another. I may upload the prompts as well on GitHub and include its link so that we can all improve, innovate, and learn further as we go along. Thank you so much for watching, and if there are any questions or comments,